Everyone needs compassion, love that's never failing. Let mercy fall on me. Everyone needs forgiveness, kindness of a Savior. Love of nations. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save. Forever, author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. Take me as you find me, all my fears and failures, and fill my life again. I give my life to follow everything I believe in. And now I surrender. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save. Forever, author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. So shine your light and let the whole world see. We're singing for the glory of the risen King. Jesus, shine your light and let the whole world see. We're singing for the glory of the risen King. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save. Forever, author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. So shine your light and let the whole world see. We're singing for the glory of the risen King. Jesus, shine your light and let the whole world see. We're singing for the glory of the risen King. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. The cross before me, the world behind me, the cross before me, the world behind me, the cross before me, no turning back, no turning back. Jesus, will you decide now to follow Jesus? No turning back, no turning back. The world behind me, the cross before me. The world behind me, the cross before me. The world behind me, the cross before me. No turning back, no turning back, no turning back, no turning back. For us as we wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord. Strength for us as we wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord. Our God, you reign forever. Our hope, our strong He everlasting God, you do not faint, you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. For us as we wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord. Strength for us as we wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord, we will wait upon the Lord our God. You reign forever, our hope, our strong defender. Everlasting God, you do not faint, you won't grow weary. You're the defender of the weak. You comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles. God, you reign forever, our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not faint. Defender of the weak, you comfort those in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles.
Thank you for being God. Lord, I pray you'd be with us as we go on through the rest of this service, that you prepare our hearts for what you may be. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Good morning. Good to see you all here today. Thank you for coming. I would ask you to take your blue response card and fill out the information that we are requesting of you. There is a survey on there that deals with the fellowship team. Please go ahead and take a look at those and give your feedback for us. We would greatly appreciate that. As you look in the worship folder, you will see that there is no junior church today. So during the greeting time, corral your kids, sit with them, and listen to what Becca has to say today for us. Also, immediately following the service, there is a luncheon for Becca and Lance. So make sure you stick around for that as well. This evening, there is no choir or no community group. They are postponed till next week. But Pastor did say that even though he is not here, he is watching, and he is even watching those of you in the foyer. Yes, you, Joe. And so, hi. Anyway, he said that there are some homework for the people who are going to be part of the community group. The homework is out on the table. There are some questions for you to answer before the first group meets. So please go ahead, if you're going to be part of the community group, pick up your homework, fill it out, and come prepared next week to be part of the community group. Looking forward to the rest of the week. There is an elders meeting on Tuesday night. WANA is meeting on Wednesday night, and worship team is meeting afterwards. On Thursday, both men's and ladies are having a Bible study. On Saturday, there is a men's outing at 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. It's an all-day event, obviously. If you have any questions, please see Jeff Smith, Steve Lothar, or Lance or Dan today to find out more about that. Also at 4 p.m. on Saturday, Brenda Atchison is opening up her yard for a bonfire. So if you're interested in that, please see her. Let her know that you're interested in coming to that. Looking forward to following events. October 5th is going to be Mall Days. The evangelism team takes on that event. So if you're interested in helping out with that and passing out Christian books and booklets and having conversations with people in our community, please come for that and help out with that as well. Now I'm going to ask Dan to come up and have our morning prayer.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There we go. Pastor's not here, but I thought I'd ask the question, does anybody remember the key word in his message last week? One key word. He's watching. Today was the key word last week. I don't know what the key word is this week. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you all glory and we worship you with grateful hearts. We are thankful for the blessings, the generosity you show us every day, not just today. We ask you to have blessings on this church, that what we do would be pleasing. We all need your compassion, as we sang this morning. As we show that compassion, we need to encourage each other. Encourage each other whether they fall, encourage each other to be built up upon one another in the family and in the church. We ask your blessings on this country. God, the wisdom of the leaders, that they would be doing the right thing. And that would be good to know that you are with them. We want to ask the blessings on Pastor this morning on a quick recovery. The special blessings on Lance and Becca. Be with them as they journey onto a new adventure. Whatever their paths may lead them, you be with them and guide them, encouraging them. We ask your blessings on our own local community, that there would be peace, that we would share with one another and our hope, and again, encouraging. We ask your blessings on this offering this morning, that it would be used in your glory, that it would be to grow you throughout the world, not just here, but everywhere. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you.
We're actually going to invite the rest of the children to come up front. We've been talking about doing a song every week for the kids. This week we're just going to incorporate them into our community song, which has been I'll Fly Away for this month. So Chelsea actually has some instruments up there if the kids want an instrument to play. Don't even have to rehearse. You can just come and grab one. There's no age limit either, so. Plenty of instruments up here. You guys can't sit down either. Everybody's got to stand up. Everybody's got to stand up. You guys can stand anywhere up front here. You guys can move out if you want, so you're not hitting each other with your tambourines. We have some kids that are too cool to come up here now, huh? All right, let's do a quick practice. Ready? I want to hear all your instruments. Go. It wasn't loud enough. I want to hear them louder. Ready? Go. All right. You guys want to spread out a little bit? All right. You guys remember the song I'll Fly Away? Some of you? You can sing the words too. Sing the words. Otherwise, just play that instrument with all you got. Ready? Some bright morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to that home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. You guys ready?
I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
When the trumpets
Of this life have gone, I'll fly away. Like a bird from prison bars has flown, I'll fly away.
oh,
I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
just a
Few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
oh,
I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die. Hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
all right, give these kids a hand. With that, greet your neighbor, find your kids, and don't forget to keep a hold of them for Becca's message.
Morning again. I brought Becca up here this time with me. Want to say hi to Becca? I was told not to be awkward today, so I'm going to try my hardest. We'll see how it goes. We're very blessed to have Becca here with us today, so we're going to kind of grill her a little bit, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she's been up to and what she may be up to and those other good things. So we're going to jump into this. So, Becca, good to see you.
Can you turn? Oh, there we go. Okay.
All right.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. Good to see you. So Pastor gave me some questions to ask Becca, so we're going to go ahead and go with the script and see what's been going on. So what are your memories or maybe first thoughts of being a missionary?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I I don't know if I had any like exact first thoughts of myself being a missionary when I was younger. But I think my first thought of like missionaries and like someone who came to church and shared and they were wearing really high socks and sandals probably. That's my impression. I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I just didn't relate very well at first. But I think there's like little things throughout my childhood and my youth that I think maybe helped me connect to being a missionary. I think I don't know if any maybe some homeschoolers know, but God's World newspaper. Oh wow. Yep, that's a good picture. Special, that's up there too. But reading God's World is like a kids magazine or like newspaper talking about different places in the world and like different articles about different things. And that was one of my favorite things. So just like learning about other cultures and things that were happening in the world, I think influenced me. And also I think like probably with King's Club and then like King's Camp, Awana, and like just reading the little autobiographies, like Amy Carmichael comes to mind and Corrie Ten Boom. She wasn't exactly a missionary, but those are so many good pictures. I think those were some influences that I remember from like growing up. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about your first mission trip as a teen to the Navajo reservation?
Okay. Can I say one more thing about the first question?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Because I forget sometimes what I'm gonna say. But I think another thing growing up in my home, like my dad worked with like a local mission organization, and like I think it helped influence me like that I just wanted to help people and be with people and walk alongside them. Because my dad like would invite them. They would be at our house often. We became friends, played games. They would come to Bible study, and I think that piece like I don't think I realized till more recently that like that played a part in like just being open and wanting to like walk alongside people and do life with them. So I just want to say that too because I think that was an important part. Yeah. So now the
Yeah,
Navajo.
The Navajo trip.
Yes.
This is probably
Yeah. Oh yeah. There we are. Paula's not in that picture, but she went too. That's what I remember too at first is that I was the only girl on the trip, like of the teens. And then I was really happy that Paula went because I needed another female. I think it was a bigger deal then, but because I hung out with all the boys anyways. But the things I remember about that is some of it was like doing practical work, like helping paint and clean and doing some projects. And for me, actually, I really enjoyed that. And so like I actually really like physical work and doing something practical and tangible to actually help people in that way that you can see. So that was something that I remember. I also remember doing VBS, and I remember being really nervous about it and not really like being so excited to do it, but like I knew it would be really good. but I was really nervous. But I felt really good about it because I did it anyways, even though I didn't feel like it was my strength. And I did it, and I was able to share. I had to have a microphone. I remember that too. That pastor is like, you should have a microphone because no one's going to hear you. It's like, okay, pastor, I remember that. Thank you. But yeah, I think those are some of the things that I remember from the mission trip. I think also it was just like it was the first one I did, and it just I think it got me a little excited, like for like going other places, and like it was still in the States, but it was definitely still a different culture to interacting, and so yeah. That answers your question enough. What's special?
Several years after that trip,
Mhm.
you went on another trip.
Did
And you had a travel companion.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that trip?
hmm
Give me a picture for that.
Yeah, I'm
as well.
sure there is. Oh, yep, there we are. My travel companion was Beth McCloskey, good companion. Um, it was to Bangladesh. So that's, if you guys don't know where it is, it's near India. And I think it's pretty similar culture-wise to India, not exactly, but I've never been to India, so I can't say for sure. But yeah, Beth and I went. We went, and not sure if I need to look at you or you, but
I would say look at them.
you don't want me to look at you,
Well,
Chris?
you can. I mean,
Does it make you feel awkward?
no.
Okay. Just checking. But yeah, that trip was really good. It was the first time, like my first mission trip overseas, but also my first time like leaving the country. And so for me, it was kind of a big deal. And it like I really remember like looking back, like I look back really fondly, and it was like it really changed my perspective on a lot of things. And I was really excited. Like I really loved being in the hot weather, and even though my hair got really big, even bigger than normal, I really enjoyed like trying the food and getting to know the people and wearing like the traditional garb. Like it was really exciting for me. I think it was like the first time I was like super excited and kind of fell in love with like getting to know other cultures. 'Cause that's that's how I remember about it. We worked with the War Savages, so Matt McCloskey's wife's parents were there, and that's who we went and stayed with. And also, they made an impact. They were really welcoming. They like treated us like their family, and they were really caring and kind. And also, I just remember them being like really faithful for what they were doing because it was exciting for us because it was new. But like they did that every day. And sometimes when you do the things every day, again and again, it's not maybe quite as exciting when it's your first time. But I could see that they were really faithful in it, even when it was hard. But what we did was we worked with Cindy, the woman, and she had started, I think she had started, or she continued a day center for little girls who were on the street, or they like kind of worked on the street or worked from really low income families and couldn't go to school because there wasn't any free public education. So you had to pay for school, so they just couldn't go. So she opened up the home for little girls who actually couldn't go to school, and so they came. They could eat food. They had their cute little uniforms, and they had like Bengali lessons and English. I think English lessons as well, and other activities. So yeah, it was a really good experience, and yeah, and I was really touched, like getting to know the little girls, even though I couldn't speak their language. But I remember making really good connections with them without the language. Yeah.
Was there any other like growing there that
Yeah.
share that might have shaped you?
I think some of the things I took away, like I said, just seeing the family be really faithful. I think that I took away from that just to be faithful in what you're doing. Also, maybe just being really flexible because but just being there, things changed. And like even time wise, like I didn't know this, but like in that culture, in a lot of warm culture areas, like time is not the Western world. Ooh. So like it was cool. We got to attend a wedding, and like I don't remember the time, but like the wedding may have been at 6 o'clock, and so we showed up at 6, and like barely anyone was there. And so it was still another hour till the wedding started. And I was like, oh, okay, this is like a cultural difference. Like people are starting to get ready at 6 o'clock. But like we thought it's like starting at 6, so we came before 6. So I think just learning to be flexible and embrace and not get like frustrated with the differences in cultures, but actually embrace them and see them as valuable.
All right, so the next question is, what experiences has God used through the years to prepare you for missions / ministry?
Well, I mean, I think some of them, like in the little ways that we already said, like with growing up and like seeing my family just embrace people and walk with people and going on these shorter trips as well. I think too with being in Denver with Youth with a Mission, because I was there for 4 or 5 years. I think being in a community that really embraced and held held like the nations as a high priority to really pray for them and get to know the different things about them. Yeah, I think that actually really helped, and just having a high value for the nations and stepping outside of myself and my own perspective. And I think also like the flexible part in that too, with going on shorter term trips, just realizing that like things don't go as you plan most of the time, and that's okay. Because that also happens long term as well. But yeah, that kind of answer the question.
Yeah, it definitely does. There's definitely a difference between like formal training, where you had formal training at YWAM, and how like you had like kind of like describe like what the difference is
between at home and
like an
with
informal
YWAM.
formal training. Why they're both important.
Yeah, I mean, I guess informal is important because you just learn, like, I think as you go more through the experience. And a lot of that could be at home, but also when you're on trips or with people, and just learning how to be with people. And I mean, it's important. It's just everyday life, I think, learning to be with people and how to care for them and how to lead. And I don't know. And then, I mean, like formal. Actually, I think YWAM's kind of a combination of both. I wouldn't say they're the most formal training of the mission organizations, but they have other high giftings. But that's not necessarily one of their highest. But as far as preparing, like I think some of it, like preparing your heart to go to the place, to really be praying for them to be like looking into the culture and what to expect. Of course, there's surprises, like even if you look into a country or any place, what you expect is usually not what you get. But I think in that way, and as far as like leadership training, they did do like training with us with like finances and with I mean, it's a little bit different, I guess, with leading a team. Like when I'm in Latvia, I wasn't exactly leading an outreach team, but yeah, I'm not sure if that exactly answers your question, but that's what I got, Chris.
Okay, very good. So, what all countries have you visited?
What all countries? Oh, yeah. I was gonna bring my phone up here because I had a list, but I forgot it. Can I take a time out?
Yeah.
Or is that Bella want to bring it to me, please? It's in my purse. That's what nice fiancés do. Thank you, nice fiance. I think I counted. I think I've been to 20 countries, but I'm not good at remembering all of them. So I can tell you in a second. You do? Okay, so I've been to America. Of course, I still count it because it's a country. And to America and Bangladesh and Thailand, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Mexico, Latvia, Romania, Guatemala, South Africa, Hong Kong, Nepal, Hungary, France, Lithuania, the Netherlands, Austria, Albania, Poland, and England. That's it
All right. So most recently,
that I've,
been in Latvia, correct?
yes.
All right. So why don't you talk a little bit about your experience there and what you've been doing there?
Okay. So, oh, clicker now. Right. So I pointed. Oh, okay. Yep. So, Latvia, for those of you who don't know, it's Europe. It's a small country, the northeast side of the world. I don't have a picture of where it is, but if you're really curious, you can look it up. But yeah, so all right, I'm gonna try to say some of my Latvian to you.
Okay.
Okay. I can't remember. Like, oh yeah, I'll use it. Yeah. Okay, so Sveiki. Hello. Es esmu Rebecca. I'm Rebecca. Es Noah Americas, but es dzīvoju Latvia trīs gadi. I'm from America, but I've lived in Latvia for 3 years. Es esmu missionare. I'm a missionary. Probably could have guessed that one. And man ļoti patīk Latvia. Latvia ir skaisti. So I really like Latvia, and Latvia is beautiful. So that's my really basic Latvian. And if there's a Latvian speaker here, they probably could correct me on my pronunciation and my grammar, but they're not here, so it's probably really close to perfect. So you're welcome. That's what it's supposed to sound like. But yeah, that's a little bit of the language. I was continuing to learn. It was it was a pretty big challenge for me, but I did learn more than, well, I know more than I did before I went, so it's a plus. So yeah, just to talk a little bit of Latvia, I worked with a mission organization called Freedom 61. It's a YWAM organization, and it's a ministry that reaches out to women who are sexually exploited, and we work with you're changing it because I forgot to. We work with women mainly who are sexually exploited, but also with other women and other like chaotic backgrounds and addiction. The two main things that I worked with while I was there was our ministry cafe and also our women's center. I don't know where I'm supposed to point this. Could you go to the next slide? Thank you. I'll just let you do it. So some pictures of our ministry cafe. It's a place where we just welcome the women. It's in an area where a lot of women work on the streets. It's not like a cafe to the public, just to them, and they know where it is and the times. We're just open a couple times a week. But yeah, so we serve soup, and like fresh soup and pastries, and coffee and tea. And it's just a place to welcome them, that they would feel loved and valued, to build relationship with them, and really that they would feel like God's love in their lives and be at a place where they feel like valued, where they may not really be anywhere else. And then also hopefully our heart is that they would meet Jesus, and that we're there to help encourage them and point them in like the right direction when they're ready to take steps towards a different. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. These are just a couple of pictures of the Women's Center. So we opened the Women's Center because of the cafe, to give women, because we realized there wasn't a whole lot of options for women to get help while they're in the cafe, after that. So we did open the center. It ended up being a bit more broad, not just the women there, but women coming from other backgrounds and other areas as well. And so mostly my time was spent in the center. The 3 years I've been there. This last year, I spent a little bit more time in Riga when we didn't have women at the center. and I helped oversee a bit like the volunteers and just coordinating them and the different nights, and that everything was going well. So just recently, before I left, I decided to go do a little bit of a debriefing, because 3 years of anyone's life, like a lot of things happen, and a good bit did happen while I was there. Yeah, I think some of the most like challenging and some of like the best times of my life, I think, happened there, both on both extremes. So I took some time, did a little debriefing in England before I came back, and so the lady who debriefed me, she does like a lot of debriefing with people like that go through trauma, but also people that are like transitioning as a missionary. And so one of the things she had me do was do like a timeline of my time the last 2 years, and that was kind of hard to do because a lot happens in 3 years, like I said. But doing that and in the process, like it did really help start my process. And she had me make like a list of like highlights and lowlights or like challenges. And so I'm actually going to share a few of those with you, because yeah, like being in Latvia and being a missionary is still part of life. And so there's really great things, but also really hard things. So I'm going to share both with you because that's real life. Not everything was always like so great. So yeah, I'm just going to be honest about it. Yes, I would say some of the hard things um, in Latvia. One was the language for me. It's a pretty challenging language to learn, and that's something I wish I would have like been a bit more determined in. I got discouraged in it, and then would try again, and then get discouraged because it was just really challenging. It could also be isolating when things around you like that you don't understand. Lots is happening, you don't understand, and so often I could get in a place where I felt isolated or just frustrated with myself. So that was a big challenge. Um, I think another thing for me was seeing women leave the center. Um, it was really hard to invest in women and to be there and to see them change and grow and just to live life with them and make connections and then see them leave. Um, and that happened a lot. And it wasn't as hard when they were there for a shorter amount of time, but you still cared about them. But there was a couple of times where people that had been there longer decided to leave really abruptly without saying anything. And I think that for me was really hard. Um, yeah, because they kind of became like your family there. So for me, that was a really big challenge. And along with that, having staff come and go. We didn't have a huge team, but when we had staff come and then they needed to leave or weren't there for very long, that was also hard. Um, yeah, that's hard any time when you have people in your life and then they leave. But it's also, I think, in missions, at least in my experience, it happens more often that people come in and out so quickly, and emotionally, that can be a really challenging thing. Yeah. Because it makes you want to not maybe invest so deeply because it hurts more when they leave. Um, so yeah, that was a big challenge for me. Um, yeah. Another thing was building community. I love Latvia and the culture, but it is a more reserved culture. So even like on the streets or on the bus, like people don't, and this isn't a bad thing. People are very nice, but it's different where people don't, like you pass someone here in America, usually you make eye contact or maybe you wave, maybe not, but like you acknowledge the person. There, not so much. People don't really look at you. They just like mind their own business. People don't talk on the bus. Like it's really quiet. It would be weird probably if you're talking to bus, but like kids, younger kids do that. But they're just more reserved. Once you get to know them and break past that first level, like they're very kind. Um, and like faithful people. But building community was really hard for me, and that was something that, yeah, it took a while, and also just didn't grow as much as I thought it would or as fast. So it was a challenge as well. Um, Another thing, I'll just do a couple more. I won't tell you just all the things. I have good things too. Don't worry. Um, But I think just communication, like with language, but also just communication and being misunderstood within our team when you live and work and are housemates with people and you're with them all the time, sometimes you have some friction because you don't have space. Like it was really great and really hard because, yeah, that's just like if you, I mean, went to work and lived and everything with, well, yeah, I'm not gonna make comparisons. I'll get in trouble. Um, but yeah, so just building relationships or the ones I had just with misunderstandings and some hard times within relationships because you're in such intense situation also. And yeah, that sometimes brings out the not so nice parts of your heart that you don't even realize are there until you're a missionary. Um, and so I did have some times personally within like within relationships in our team. Yeah, just because that's a challenging thing. Part of it is just the intensity of the situation and always being with the same people. Yeah, so those are some of my challenges and like harder times. But I also have some really highs. And of course, I feel like with a lot of things, things that are like your low points also end up being like your highlights as well. Yeah, so some of these like transfer over. But some of my highlights were even just little times like at the center where it wouldn't be a big thing, but it was just like small, special moments where you did see the community around you, my teammates, the residents, and that you're just like, oh, like this is my family, and this is why I'm here, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it was just those sweet little reminders from Jesus of just like, this is why you're here, like to live life and walk alongside. And so for me, those little moments were like some of the biggest moments and encouragements. Um, Another thing is that Latvia is a really beautiful country. Oh, you can go to the next slide. Oh, okay, do the next one. That's the center. Yeah, those just lots of pictures of some of my highlights because Latvia is a really beautiful country. It has lots of forests. You're by the Baltic Sea. I lived in the countryside mostly the first time I lived in the countryside and I think I'm a country girl at heart. So for me, that part was really enjoyable. I got to do a lot of practical work outside, even chopping wood or heating our house with the furnace. Like those things to me were highlights because it was something I really enjoyed and just being in nature. And that's something about the culture that they really embrace, like nature and things being, like I guess, healthy and natural. Um, so that was a really cool thing. Another thing that, even though language was a challenge, in spite of it, I feel like I made really good connections with some of the women at the center. Like I said earlier, when I was in Bangladesh, you can talk and communicate with people without words. And I used some of the words I had, and they used some of the words that they had in English and in Latvian. And we used lots of hand gestures and motions. But like, there's one lady that I'm pretty sure if we had our own language, because someone else be like, who was Latvian, be like, I don't know what you guys are saying, because you're kind of using Latvian words, but not really. But we had our own special language, and so there are deep connections without the language. In spite of like the lack of language, you could still make deep connections. And those are really special times to me to be able to just have memories, just even if you're sitting with someone and yeah, making dinner or sitting and doing an activity without talking, you still form a deep connection because you see them every day and you walk through some, yeah, just life in intense times as well. Um, Another thing that was a highlight is that, yeah, even within some of like the challenges and intense times with myself or my teammates, that were really hard, like by the time I left, I could actually really see like Jesus's redemption and grace in like redeeming relationships, like for women who came to the center in their lives, but also within myself and relationships between other people. I don't think I've really seen that before so actively, but like, yeah, like coming from such an extreme place and what God can do when your hearts are open to let Him like work and to heal. And so that's something I'm really grateful for to see, just Jesus' redemption and grace within even my own life and just rebuilding relationships. Um, Another thing that was a highlight was getting to know Lance, that fellow over there, the good fiance. I met him right before I moved, and so that was interesting and also maybe a challenge in itself to get to know someone so far away. But I realized through my debriefing time too that like he was one of the main like consistent things throughout my whole time, and so I really appreciate that. Um, and I could just see Jesus' love, like Jesus' character of faithfulness and consistency, even when I wasn't maybe being so consistent, but like he was pretty true and consistent to what he said, like the first like week before I left till now. So, yep, I'm thankful for that, and that was definitely a high. And him coming to visit actually was really great too, because he was the only person that was able to come and see my life in Latvia and at the center. And I think it really helped bridge the gap because it's hard to have your lives so separated when you have really important things in America with your family and where you grew up, and then having such another, like where you feel called to and connections in another country and they don't see each other and they don't overlap. It's really hard. And I think that was actually another big challenge for me. So for him to be able to come and to do that and take the time to do that was really, yeah, it was a huge blessing, and I was super grateful for that. So, thanks for doing that. Yeah. So this will be my last highlight, but the last thing was my team, which so that one picture with the three of us, like half of them are cut out, but that's okay. But that was what we called as was kind of our joke. We called our team the Queen team, and that was kind of our leadership team. And so we kind of became the leadership team and had different parts of the ministry that we oversaw and would come together and meet. And it's a big highlight for me because even within our team and within that Queen team, we had some challenges and lots of things happen. But I was so grateful because they have been through some of like, they have seen me at my worst, and somehow they still like me. Maybe they didn't always through the process, but like they still love me and like me. And they were really there for me during, some of my lowest points. A quick example is my one of my friends, Leanna. It's Leanna and Erica, but she likes to tell the story to everyone because she just thinks it's so funny. But there was one day when I was at the center, and it was my shift, but it was just me. It was the evening shift, and something happened again with the resident, and it was a pretty intense thing, and it had happened already a few times. And I was at that point, I was like, I'm just so emotionally exhausted and overwhelmed. I don't think I can do this again tonight. Like, I can't handle this. Like, I don't know. So I just wrote them, and I was like, hey, like one of them was in America, and I was writing her, and she was just praying for me and writing me back and encouraging me. And then and then there was another girl there that I wrote, I'm like, hey, this just happened. Can you just be praying for the situation and for me? Because I'm just really out of it. Not my breaking point, but could you pray? Thank you, blah, blah, blah. And I think before they wrote back, they ended up showing up at the center, and they came up the stairs and they're like, hey, like, we're here. Like, they didn't have to come. It's not their shift. It's their free time. And they came to support me physically and from afar. But so like, you can go take a break, like go do what you need to do. We can take turns and take turns and take shifts and do what we need to do throughout the night. So I went downstairs and I sat on the bathroom floor, and then I just started crying, which it happened. It just didn't happen that much in front of people, but I'm sitting there crying, and one of the girls comes in and she looks at me, and then she just starts laughing because she was like, you're just sitting on the bathroom floor crying. I'm like, yeah, but I'm laughing too. But it would be funnier if you knew her. But she she was there for me. She came. She always likes to tell people that I cried on the bathroom floor. I'm like, yeah, it's true, Leanna. But she just hadn't seen me cry very much either. But it was like such a tangible moment where I saw, even though it was so intense and I was overwhelmed and didn't have anything left, it was such a tangible time of feeling so loved and cared for by my team and known. And I didn't have to ask, they just came. And so that for me was a really big highlight. And just something I realized I'm so grateful for, that throughout my time there, this group, it was really hard to say goodbye to them. Yeah, because they were there for me when I was in my worst and at my best, and they still stood by me and were really faithful. And so much happened that, probably more had happened in the 3 years than a lot of within other relationships that maybe have gone on longer. But anyways, yep, I'm gonna stop talking about that now. But that was a really big highlight, and I think I just left with my starting my process that will still happen of debriefing, but just feeling very grateful, even though a lot happened. And yep, I'm just very grateful for my experiences. I don't wish, I regret some of choices that I made of how I maybe wasn't in, didn't always make the best choices, and maybe put myself in places that weren't the best health wise. But I never regret going, and I'm so glad and so grateful just to see Jesus's grace in my life. Yeah, and just so grateful. Yeah. Mhm.
All right, so let's imagine that somebody out here, maybe a kid, maybe a teen, maybe a young adult, maybe even somebody that's a little bit older,
Is it you?
is wondering if God wants them to serve Him maybe cross culturally or maybe even overseas. What kind of advice would you give?
Advice. I mean, I think one thing I would say is, I mean, Jesus gave us the command to go out into all the world and to share the gospel. So I think He already gave us that command. I would say don't be so hesitant to take a step towards doing that if you have an inkling in your heart towards that. Maybe just don't wait for a big miraculous sign, because sometimes it's just in the small moments or the times in your heart. So just, I don't know, not to be afraid to take steps, because to me, actually, when I moved to Latvia, it didn't feel like as big of a deal at the time. But I think because there was a lot of other smaller steps going towards it. It wasn't just that one day I decided to go to Latvia. So I would just encourage you to, of course, seek the Lord, but to not wait for some, big sign to say in the sky that you should go to Africa or Latvia or whatever it is. Yeah. And I would just encourage you too to really, if you do start taking those steps, to really build a support system from where you're being sent, and to really stay connected with them as you take steps. Mm-hmm.
So our world is ever changing, and things change.
Mm.
What do you think missions will look like for the next year?
Well, I feel like this is a hard question, and I'm not exactly sure how to answer it. But I mean, I think that it will continue. And I'm trying to remember what I actually was thinking. I mean, as far as the next generation, I think probably, I mean, I think I already media and social media probably plays a part. It could be good and bad, but you can connect with people from other places fairly easily now. And I guess I would say for the next generation, I've seen people come and maybe try things or are scared to maybe make a commitment. So maybe this is more my hope, for the next generation, that they would take steps to maybe try something and to commit. Then, because that's, I think, in a lot of organizations or ministries, is there's a lot of passionate young people, but they are so excited and passionate about an idea and going somewhere, that it's hard for them to commit to one thing and to actually like be there and give their time because they're ready for the next thing already. So I guess my hope is that young people who are passionate would really take a step and commit like at least a chunk of time to really serve and get to know, yeah, missions.
Very good. All right, one final question for you.
Yes.
What do you think your involvement in missions will be?
That's a good question. Well, as of right now, not totally sure. Lance and I are praying about it. I mean, I do think that I'll stay connected with people in Latvia, in a way of like supporting them financially and hopefully just talking to them, like continue to do that, and hopefully go, if it's not going back for longer, to go back to on a shorter time to maybe support and help. Um, but I don't know exactly. I think maybe in a similar realm or with working with families that are coming out of hard situations could be potential future steps. But you guys can also ask Lance after this what his answer is, right? He'll like that. So yeah, but we're praying and seeking God on that, and we both have a heart to do something and to serve and to help. Uh, just yeah, and where the next step is. So.
Have anything else you want to say in closing?
I guess just I want to say thank you for my church family here, for supporting and praying for me, supporting financially and emotionally, and like when I've come home, you've always been so welcoming, kind. Yeah, so just thank you for that, and yeah, I'm just really thankful and grateful also for the people here that know me and have supported me through my time, like before I went, and watching me take those other steps. And so, yeah, thank you, and I'm grateful for you as well. You
Let's go
too.
ahead and pray. Father God, I thank you so much for this day. I thank you for this opportunity that we could learn about how you've been Becca, Lord, and the mission of the Lord. We thank you so much for her willingness to go and serve you, Lord. Lord, I pray that you would be with her and Lance as they go on to the next stage of their life, and that as they're seeking your face, and that you make it clear to them what you have them to do, Lord. I pray that we'd be able to surround them and support them in whatever they may do, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I will speak my words to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart. I'm the Lord of wind and flame. I will set the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide. Still my heart be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold your people in my heart.
Let us pray. Father God, I thank you so much for this day. I thank you for the opportunity that we had to come and gather together as a corporate body to worship you, to learn about what Becca's been doing overseas, Lord. Lord, we thank you so much for the many blessings you give to us, Lord. Lord, I pray that it would be our heart's desire to say, here I am, Lord. I'm going to do what you've called me to do. Lord, I pray it would be our heart's desire to be your hands and feet as we leave this hill today, that we would be willing to show your love to those that we come in contact with. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.